Good morning, everybody. This is Linda Jackson from Food Focus, and welcome to our webinar Wednesday. It's great to have you with us, and I can see that the room is filling up nicely. We're expecting over 100 people this morning, and so we'll give them another couple of minutes just to dash in, set themselves up, or otherwise log off from their last Zoom meeting so that they can jump into our meeting. For those of you that have been sitting waiting for us, thank you for your patience. And you have another minute to go and get yourself a cup of coffee. So why not do so? Actually change that order. I think you should get yourself a milkshake, a glass of milk and cookies. Perhaps you should get yourself a cheesy snack, or why not a yogurt? Seeing as we're going to be talking all things dairy today, and being a dairy ambassador, you need to do your bit. So go and get your dairy snack while we're waiting for everyone else to join us. Chat to you shortly. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Wednesday morning, the first Wednesday morning in March. Can you believe it? I'm Linda Jackson, and I'm from Food Focus, and it's our great pleasure to host Webinar Wednesday today, and we trust that you're looking forward to learning a whole lot more about what we need to do to be dairy ambassadors. I'm about to hand over to our really valued sponsors. But before I do that, I just want to take you through a quick rundown of the webinar etiquette and kind of features so that you know exactly what you can and can't do and how you can interact with us during the course of the webinar today. It's a very full program, so hold tight. Lots and lots of information to be shared, and we can't wait to do this with you. If you can see the slide moving and you can't hear me, you have a sound problem. So my colleague Adele is checking as you come on board to make sure that there aren't any sound setting problems, and if there are, she'll be chatting to you. Please make sure you've got the best viewing by maximizing in the upper right hand corner of your slide so you can see the material and you can also see the presenters as they go through their presentations. We really would like you to interact with us, and so there's a wonderful opportunity for you to ask questions. We're going to ask you to hold them to the end, but please make sure you use the question menu function. You can see it either on your mobile or on your desktop menu, so that you can pop your questions into this so that we can at least pass them on to the speakers at the end of the presentation. So don't sit there with a burning issue. Make sure you put it out so that we can definitely answer it. If we run out of time, don't panic. We will make sure that you get the opportunity to ask those questions when you have, or rather they'll be answered by Milk SA at the end of the presentation. So don't panic in that regard. All right, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our speakers for today. And so it's really great to have Milk SA on board and the Consumer Education Project specifically. And so as a result of that, I'm going to be handing over now to them so that you can meet them and you can also learn a little bit more about this very important topic. Before you start, I just want to tell them a little bit about you. Christine Leighton is the project manager of the Consumer Education Project for Milk SA, and she really is responsible for making sure that we as consumers and health professionals fully understand the benefits of dairy. She's the president of the South African Society for Dairy Technology. She's also a member of the International Dairy Federation. She's on their marketing committee. But the most important thing you need to know is that she loves mountain biking, good food, and wine tasting. Christine, I thought it's supposed to be cheese tasting, but cheese goes well with wine. So we'll let you off the hook for that one today. Over to you, Christine. We can't wait to hear all about this very, very important topic of being an ambassador for dairy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Linda, for the introduction. Good morning to all participants. The aim of today is to position the consumer education project of milk in the dairy industry and to show you educational products that are developed by the project. We will also show you the usefulness of these products for individual companies in the dairy industry. So I will be telling you more about the project. The title of the webinar is Be an Ambassador for Dairy with the Rediscover Dairy, which is our slogan. And that is your gateway to the information about dairy, health, and nutrition. The industry is often has to field tricky questions from consumers, which can stem from a flawed understanding of the role of dairy in the diet. For example, many consumers opt for plant-based beverages as an alternative to real milk, not knowing that such products are not nutritionally equivalent to dairy. But by equipping yourself with sound, evidence-based information about the important role of dairy in a healthy lifestyle, you will be able to answer those difficult questions that consumers often ask. But first of all, we have to start off and ask, how do we build a dairy industry? So this can be done by firstly building trust in the products. Also, by communicating the quality of the nutrients and the interaction with each other, as well as the quality of the products. We have to ensure that the products on the shelf are safe to consume, and also that dairy evolves through innovative products that meet consumer demands. It is therefore very important for us to dispel the myths and misperceptions about dairy. But many might know that the simple truth is that milk and dairy products are minimally processed, packed with many important nutrients that are nutritionally naturally occurring in dairy and therefore easily absorbed by the body. Dairy gives consumers many options for enjoying healthy, great tasting food. So today, we will empower you and inspire you about dairy, and you will also know where to get accurate, useful, credible information that you can use in your own communication activities. I am not going to introduce our team. You can see we are 3 people. I will be speaking first, and then I hand over to our dietitian, Maretha, Vermaak, and then our food scientist, Jeandre Johnston. So you may be wondering, where did it all start? Well, the project started in 2008, and since then has positioned itself as a trusted source of information on dairy nutrition and health. Rediscover Dairy is our slogan of the project, and the content generated by the product is your gateway to health and nutrition. The project is a voluntary, non-profit organization committed to educating consumers and health professionals on the health-promoting benefits of dairy through various communication channels. The project also does not only serve the dairy industry, but also works to empower consumers with sound information that will make them help them make responsible dairy choices. This slide shows you the structure of Milk SA. Its members are SAMPRO, the South African Milk Processors Organization, and the MPO, which is Milk Producers Organization. The Consumer Education Project is a project of Milk SA, and Milk SA is a non-profit company set up to promote the development of the industry. We do not just communicate because we like to communicate. The project has a mandate under the Regulation 1398 of 2017 that states consumers should be informed of the nutritional advantages of milk and other dairy products, as informed consumers will not only contribute to the national well-being, but also to the viability and sound development of the dairy industry. And our communication campaign does not use any branding and is conducted in such a way that it will not erode the marketing activities of any firm in the dairy industry that are aimed to differentiate its products from its competitors. But in order for consumers to choose dairy above all the other options available on the shelf, the project aims not only to inform and educate the South African population on the health benefits, but also to package the messages in such a way that consumers are receptive to the information, and therefore we tailor-make the messages so that it resonates with a specific target audience. And also part of our aim is to take dairy out of the kitchen and place it in the lifestyle of the audiences. Therefore, we empower the consumers with knowledge to help them inform decisions. Our target audience are health professionals and consumers. We believe that we need to speak to health professionals such as dietitians, doctors and nurses, as they are seen as a credible source of information, and consumers do value their opinion. But equally important is the communication with consumers. Here we work across many target groups and communication channels. Our primary target is LSM 6 to 8, with a spill over to 9 and 10, but we also reach the lower LSM groups. In order for us to effectively deliver the messages, the project partners with different people in industry and academics, as shown on this slide. An important element of the project is the Technical Advisory Committee. You can see the list of names on this slide. These are experts in nutrition from various academic institutions in South Africa. They form an integral part of the support structure of the CEP. This committee examines the science behind nutrition and health and the benefits of dairy, and develops evidence-based reviews, which we'll be talking about later on specific health benefits of dairy, such as hypertension, dairy fats and cardiovascular disease, dairy and cancer prevention, and there are many more. We have about, I think, about 27 different health benefits, which is available on our website. But having this support structure ensures that all the material that we publish is credible and scientifically sound. We also liaise with international bodies, such as the International Dairy Federation and the Global Dairy Platform, which play an important role in the structure of our project. We are actively involved in these organizations, and we also use the information obtained from the IDF and the GDP to inform the content development of our project. Which might be of interest to the industry is to know that the IDF provides position papers or literature reviews that may assist countries in their approach to dairy-related issues. These are posted as bulletins on the IDF website. You could get information about the plant-based beverages, a guide, how does it work, the nutritional value as well as the labeling thereof, the fact that lactose should not be seen as an added sugar, and how sugar-sweetened dairy may or may not contribute to a healthy diet. So this brings us to how do you manage to communicate with this diverse population of South Africa while ensuring that the messages resonate with the specific target audiences. This is made possible through partnering with different organizations to ensure we reach the target audience effectively. We have an advertising agency, we have a PR agency, as well as a health and wellness consultancy that plays an important role to ensure the messages reach the different audiences. It goes without saying that the content published by the project must be relevant for the selected audiences. The overwhelming amount of information published in popular articles and social media, often without sound scientific support, make it difficult for consumers to find a trusted source of information. However, we track the flow of the articles about dairy published in popular media via our media monitoring service so that we are aware of the current discussions around dairy in the media. We use various communication channels such as television, digital and social media platforms, print, and to a lesser extent, radio. The project also presents the messages at dietetic organizations, public clinics, tertiary institutions, as well as primary schools. But you may know that there are many opportunities for the industry to benefit from the products developed by the CEP. Making appropriate use of the tools and the educational material will strengthen and enhance the messages and influence the perception about dairy in the industry. As a matter of interest, all the material is free of charge, And if you wish to use it, you need to just send us an email. We do not allow co-branding, but we can work around whatever your needs are. The next section of this presentation will then focus on the educational products and the application and usefulness to the individuals in the organization. And this is really what the presentation is about.
It looks like I'm now going to introduce you to the lady who counts the calories, Maretha. It's your turn now. So Maretha is the dietitian for the Consumer Education Project for Milk SA, and she's going to be taking us through her slides. Once again, she is an active member of the IDF standing committees, in this case her speciality being nutrition and health, and she's also involved in the Science Program Coordinating Committee. She's a co-author of the scientific paper, South African Food-Based Dietary Guidelines for Having Milk, Mass and Yogurt Every Day. And I think that's a great publication which promotes the inclusion of dairy into your diets. She obviously is a dietitian by profession, a postgraduate diploma in hospital dietetics, and she's been counting calories for people and measuring their waistlines for 20 years before joining Milk SA. But today we want to understand how important it is to actually include dairy in our diets, and how we can use these messages to make sure that the consumer truly understands the importance of this as part of the nutritional makeup. Maretha, over to you. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much. Sorry, that's normally just a crocky start, but I'm going to speak to you all about the products that the Consumer Education Project of Milk South Africa has available on our website. Starting with the Rediscover Dairy website, this website is the umbrella website of the project. On this site, you should be able to find most dairy-related content. From here, you can access all our other sites, such as the Dairy Gives You Go and the Dairy Kids site, and links to our dairy Facebook pages. You can also browse and look at all our resources under the resource menu button. For our scientific information, this is typical textbook style nutrition related information focused to assist the dietitian and the nutrition community. To access this information, you can follow the evidence-based review menu item. This is convenient, accessible reference sources to assist not only the health professional, but also any person that is interested in detail behind the messages on dairy health and nutrition. Under evidence-based nutrition, there are 5 sections: dairy-based nutrition, health benefits of dairy, research under the magnifying glass, and sustainable nutrition. The composition of different dairy products is also available. The project has added a very insightful review just this week, and here I refer to research under the magnifying glass. This review is all about how to judge scientific information, whether it is a published article, grey literature, a review, or even social media. Very worthwhile to read. The website is easy to navigate, and there's a search button at the top right to assist you in finding specific dairy-related topics. Staying with the Rediscover Dairy website, a very useful tool is the Ask Dairy tool. A simple question and answer format offers useful dairy-related information in consumer-friendly language. Almost 100 entries cover questions across 6 categories, namely nutrition, health, animal welfare, quality and safety, environment and sustainability, and lastly, dairy products. With this tool, you have all the dairy-related information you need at the tip of your fingers. This tool is consistently updated, and we identify new questions and answers that consumer may want to ask about dairy. To promote the tool, we developed the Ask Dairy logo. Processors can use the Ask Dairy logo in their packaging, which could guide consumers to the tool on the website to enable them to get their questions answered. If any processor wishes to use this logo, they need to contact the Consumer Education Project to get approval for the use on specific dairy products. Products, packaging, and relating advertising material that qualify for the Ask Dairy logo has to adhere to the R1510. There are several tools on the website for use in different markets. These can all be found under the resource menu item, as well as under specific projects of the CEP. The material on this slide is used when speaking to health promoters and community health workers in public clinics. They then in turn reach the lower socioeconomic sector of the population. Through this initiative, the health promoters and the community health workers are empowered with knowledge, not only on dairy, but also the food-based dietary guidelines of South Africa. The educational program is aligned with the Department of Health's way of teaching nutrition to our diverse population by using the South African food-based dietary guidelines. One of these guidelines state, have milk, mass, or yogurt every day. This program may well assist the Department of Health's effort to combat malnutrition and the fight against non-communicable diseases. It provides quality education to communities and other nutritionally at-risk people. The material that is provided to the health promoters and the community health workers at the time of the education sessions consists of a complete training tool providing the full lesson plan and is supported by visual posters to enable the trainee to convey the message to his or her own community. A pamphlet with the core messages on milk and dairy is available in 9 of our official languages and is provided as a leave behind message. Processors and producers can use this material in their own establishment, especially if they have a reciting notes that can make use of the information when speaking to employees, or should they need to address school children or visitors to the manufacturing plants. In addition, we have an educational tool that is also available for dietitians who speak to individuals that visit public clinics and hospitals. This tool can support the user of it in communicating nutrition messages on healthy eating for the whole family and the importance of milk and dairy throughout the different phases of human life. From the important food-based dietary guideline, eating a variety of food, through to healthy nutrition for your baby and eating healthy hints for the elderly person. In addition to the educational material, there's a video that explains where dairy comes from, the different dairy products, and the health benefits of dairy. The video is available in English, Zulu, Xhosa, Tswana, and Tsonga. Let's now look at our school program and the information available on our kids' website. The school project is aimed at grades 1 to 7 and is in line with the South African Department of Basic Education's curriculum for the foundation phase and the intermediate phase learners. The teacher's guides are color-coded for specific grades and it's integrated with the teacher's lesson plan. It consists of 2 main themes. For the grade R to 3, the lesson plan is from farm to fridge. And for grade 5 and 6, it's a guide to healthy eating, which covers all the food-based dietary guidelines of South Africa. As a note, the curriculum does not include dairy in grade 4 and 7, and therefore we do not have a teacher's guide for those specific grades. The slide demonstrates where you can find all the information on the school program on the website, as well as all the material available. Each theme consists of a teacher's guide, class posters, some worksheets, and fact sheets on the topic for each learner to take home and share it with their family. All posters and worksheets are available in English and Afrikaans. All materials are available on the website at dairykits.co.za and can be downloaded under the Teachers Resources button. The project also developed an educational video that explains the food-based dietary guidelines of South Africa. You can download this video from our website, and it is available in English, Zulu, and Xhosa. Handy information for the industry can be found under the menu item Media and News. Here you will be able to access all the TV adverts, media releases, dairy webinars, and fact sheets. Under leaflets and fact sheets for use by processors specifically, other leaflets and fact sheets for use by processors specifically are also available under the media menu item. These two Z-folder leaflets called Know Your Product are aimed at the consumer and uses infographics to show the nutritional content of dairy as well as health benefits. They can come in very handy if you should do an in-store promotion and wish to hand out leaflets to the consumers. Getting to our dairy and sport menu item. This work is something we are very proud of and probably one of the easiest messages to use to promote dairy. There is adequate science behind the role of dairy in rehydration, recovery, and repair of muscles. All the information have recently been updated by 2 sports dietitians with the latest research results and references in sports nutrition. The electronic version will be finalized by the end of the first quarter, but keep a lookout for this new menu item. However, we will notify you as soon as that is available. This is just to give you an idea of the look and feel of the new tool and the exciting topics that you will be able to explore. There is also a pamphlet available that can be downloaded, and if any processor is involved with sports nutrition, you can request copies of the printed version of the leaflet. All the resources presented today are available on the website as downloads, and in some cases, hard copies are available too. The project can be contacted for hard copies at info@dairycp.co.za. And that concludes my part of the presentation. I think, Linda, this illustrates why the communication that the Consumer Education Project of Milk South Africa provide is so important, and even for our dietitians. And because it's called almond milk, first of all, it shouldn't actually be called milk because it's a beverage made from almonds, and as little as only 7 almonds per litre. The rest is diluted in water, and of course, there's a lot of additional products that's added in the whole process of making almond milk. And actually, all our plant-based beverages is very highly processed to get that hard almond into a liquid that's called milk. So no, only 7 almonds per litre, and the difference in protein, which is extremely important, is not only the quantity but also the quality of the protein in these milks.
Absolutely. Sorry, Christine, won't you just say that again, please? You're not clear.
The 52% you probably thought it is 75 almonds because the almond milk is so expensive.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that's probably why we all chose that. Because, yeah, I mean, it is very, very expensive. I mean, to buy almonds are very, very expensive. So I think, the assumption is that if that's how much I have to pay per kilogram of almonds, and of course it must be, a lot of almonds that go into a litre of milk. Also very interested in your comments relating to, should we really call this milk? Should it rather not be plant-based beverages? And I know that you're not the only sector which has taken issue with the fact that we're calling things by names that are not necessarily appropriate, given the fact that, milk has a particular meaning in relation to a cow. And so, but that's for another day. Let's move on to the next presentation. Thank you, Maretha. That was very, very interesting. Our next guru on the block has a Master of Food Science from Tuks, and he's really sort of looked at some very complicated things. nanostructures as stabilizers in fermented whey beverages. I'm sorry, Jeandre, I don't even know what that means, but I'm sure you could draw me a picture. But he's passionate about the dairy industry, and he's also passionate about education. And so he's got the perfect job, because in the role that he plays, he can in fact communicate information about dairy. He's facilitated at industry level, university level, worked with several dairy factories, and he's been working in the industry since 2015. He's a member of the SASDT, and he loves to host, and he loves to make good food. We might take you up on that one, Jeandre. Over to you. We'd love to hear what we need to know about social media.
Thank you so much, Linda. From the consumer communication side, we're staying current with the trends and engaging with our fans on the different social media platforms, as shown on the slide. The Dairy Gives You Go social media platform was introduced in 2014, and the Rediscover Dairy platform at the end of 2019. Each has a different target audience. The Rediscover Dairy Facebook page was developed to take scientific nutritional information and offer it in bite-sized, consumer-friendly messages. The page speaks to moms, as she is the person who makes decisions about meal planning. The mom is confronted not only by the various needs of the family, but also by the diverse products offered at the shops, like we see with the almond milk. The mom is informed about the important contribution that dairy nutrients can make to the development of the growing child and the various needs of the family. The platform is used not only to educate, but to advocate and to entertain. We thus structure our posts to include information about the health-promoting benefits of dairy and address common misconceptions about dairy, while adding a fun element with recipes. We cover the nutritional information about dairy and its related health benefits. Dairy, the role in dairy sport, meal ideas, and easy recipes. This content is particularly useful for the dairy industry, as it takes complex scientific messages and translates it into consumer-friendly messages, which are scientifically correct and checked by nutrition experts. The response to our Facebook over the past year is an indication that the content which we post on the platform is relevant to the followers, and the followers find it useful and engaging. The page grew tenfold in 2020, from 1,200 to over 13,000 currently. The project uses micro-influencers, mommy bloggers, and dietitians to talk about dairy and thereby increase the audience base that is exposed to our content. This has a positive impact on the size of the audience reach that stimulates engagement and interaction with the followers. We equip the influencers with the correct information, as is published in our media releases and resources, so that they can create their own content for their own platform and to engage with their audience. This is then shared across the Rediscover Dairy and media platforms. A library of these messages are being developed for the members of Milk South Africa to choose from to use in their own social media campaigns. This will be available from the second quarter and will be categorized according to the topic at hand, such as lactose intolerant, 3-a-day dairy, or for example, bone health that we can see on the screen. The Dairy Gives You Go platform is aimed primarily at teenagers. You might ask why we target teenagers. Teenagers have a strong purchasing power in their own terms, on income, influencing their parents' purchasing decisions. Teenagers are also more open to advertising messages than the older target groups, if the message is communicated in the right way. Relevance is key. The television advert developed by the project takes milk and dairy out of the kitchen and places it in the space of the teenager. From a nutritional point of view, teenagers are in their bone-growing phase of life. By informing them of the important role of dairy in the development phase of their body, such as bone development years from 9 to 19, they can make informed decisions when choosing a beverage and be cognizant of why dairy is a better choice than many other beverages on the market. Processors can participate in social media campaigns that we run on the Dairy Gives You Go platform. They are referred to as our Euro campaigns, and we usually run about 3 per year. How does this work? We notify the industry of specific projects that we are running on the Dairy Gives You Go social media platform. When a commercial organization participates in these campaigns as created by the CAP, the impact of this campaign is amplified. Then, on a weekly basis, while the campaign is active, we then share the links with the campaign to the processors whom have previously indicated that they wish to participate. The easiest way is just to share the content of the page by the Dairy Gives You Go Facebook page, Instagram, and sometimes even TikTok. Here we have an example of a dairy dance-off competition that we ran last year in May. The industry was invited to share the links, which then increases the awareness of dairy. Here we can see some of the micro-influencers that we use just to advocate the engagement that we have, how dairy can give you go. Dairy Gives You Go has its own website, and the advantage of this website is that it carries 25 different infographics about dairy that can be used by the industry in their own communication activities. In addition, there are recipes, as well as the current and previous TV ads that were hosted on this platform. The tasty treat videos are available on the Dairy Gives You Go website, and you can request a file should you wish to use them.
Thanks, Jeandre. I definitely would like to ask you a question or two about that shortly, but Christine, why don't you take us home to land? Thank you so much. Over to you.
We are often asked whether we measure the success of our project, and the answer is yes. The purpose of assessing the performance of the communication project is important, as it will determine specific research that may be required. Although experts in the field of media planning and buying are used by the project to determine the communication media plan for the project, it is still important that each element of the project is measured to ensure the target market is reached and the messages resonate with the audience. To this end, the project tasks different organizations to measure different campaigns from time to time. The findings are then used to inform the campaign messages and tailor-make the approach to certain segments of the population. As an example is the Dietitian Survey, which was conducted at the end of 2020. And the aim of this, we wanted to know what the dietitians' knowledge and usage of the educational tools are as represented today. We needed to know if dietitians are using all the educational material and tools developed by provided by the CEP. And we also interviewed dietitians to find out how important dairy and other milk and other dairy products, are in their place of work. And what are the typical questions? So what we often get is that people would ask, is there sugar added to fat-free milk? So these are the questions we try to identify, and then we would use this to upgrade and update the Ask Dairy tool, as you saw earlier. We obtained valuable information from this survey into the knowledge level of dietitians, as well as their needs in terms of dairy nutrition. Lastly, the Consumer Education Project's mandate is health and nutrition. However, it cannot ignore the importance of the impact of sustainable farming practices and food production on the planet. But we know that consumers have difficulty in fully understanding the concept of sustainability, and they often only consider animal well-being as an important contributor. So although plant-based eating patterns are often seen as the way to save the planet, poorly planned vegan and vegetarian diets may be deficient in many nutrients such as protein, calcium, vitamin B12, as well as iron. Consumers need to know what is the effect if they replace cow's milk with a so-called plant-based milk or a milk alternative, which we've spoken about. If you look at this, is a menu item that we recently added to our Rediscover Dairy website, and you can easily navigate through the relevant information about the nutritional value and comparison of cow's milk and plant-based drinks, as well as find out why people exclude dairy from the diet. However, the task of the project is to ensure that consumers are informed that a plant-based diet does not mean excluding dairy from the diet. In fact, plants and dairy go better together. So you just have to add dairy. We thank you. That's the end of our story, Linda.
Thank you, Christine. That was really, really interesting. And I think you touched on some points which I've had some interesting discussions with friends and family about, because there's just so much misconception when it comes to, plant-based diets as an alternative. I'm going to now open the floor to the delegates that are with us, and I can see Nicolette is straight out the block already with a great question. But for the rest of you, please, now's your chance. So you've got your voting fingers going so well that now you can get your typing fingers going, and you can pop us some questions into the question bar. And while I'm giving you a minute or so to do that, I'm going to pose some of the questions that I have, and Nicolette, your question will be definitely on the list. Maretha, if you don't mind, when you were chatting about the information that's available, you referenced R1510. Just for those of us that might need a bit of reminding, I'm assuming that this is a regulation, and I just wanted to just get a little bit of clarity on that because it wasn't necessarily covered in detail.
If you don't mind, Linda, I'll cover that answer. The R1510 is a regulation for dairy products. So it will give you the specifications, say for instance the protein content or the dry matter content that should be in any product, whether it is a full cream milk, a low fat milk, a fruit yogurt, cheese and Mars. So it is milk on the shelf has to adhere to the R1510. And the Dairy Standards Agency with Jeandre, they would monitor the quality of the products on the shelf. So if there's a query, say for instance, somebody would say there's water added to milk, then the DSA would then go and collect the product and they would test it to see if it's correct, because the regulation will state how much fat and how much protein must be in each product.
Perfect, thank you. And that regulation that we're referring to falls under the Agricultural Products Standards Act. And as Christine says, it refers to the quality of dairy products and milk products to make sure that we as consumers are being protected. I wanted to ask a follow-on question, and that is in relation to the teacher aids. Maretha, you showed us some amazing posters that are available for teachers to be able to assist them with carrying the message of dairy and the importance of dairy in your diets. I just wanted to know what's the uptake from schools, and then the second part is how is online teaching, or the sort of the change with lockdown to many online teaching platforms, how have you accommodated that in the communication program?
Thank you for the question, Linda. I'm going to hand over this question to Jeandre, as he's the responsible person for the school project.
Cool. Jeandre, tell us about the teachers.
Hi, Linda. Getting back to what happened with now the online platform that we saw a surge in due to the coronavirus and lockdown happening, we partnered with eClassroom, and we saw a tremendous uptake in our material that's being used across South Africa in the different platforms. Speaking in general terms, before COVID, we usually sent out about, I would say, 3,000 of the booklets that we sent to rural communities and schools that participated. But the uptake now recently with eClassroom was astounding. We usually have competitions, a special day around September, and a World School Milk Day, where we proactively go out and we advocate about how the tools can benefit the teacher and teaching aids. And we usually do this in collaboration with the DBE, and it's always such a great fun. However, now with COVID being in place, we are quite restricted. So most of our platforms are now online, and the Dairy Kids platform has specifically been designed for low-income data use. So it makes it easy and light to carry. And I want to ask, and say we are in the process of updating and expanding into high school teaching aid material, both for the teachers and for the learners to engage. We also recently ran on eClassroom Facebook page a little awareness campaign, a back to school campaign about the importance of milk. And we saw a phenomenal uptake and participation and engagement in that specific platform. So if you are a teacher or you have kiddies at home that want more information, do visit them. It's quite a good site.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Right, now for the tricky one. Okay, so I'm not sure who wants to take this hot potato, but let's put it out there because it was also on my list. As a dairy ambassador, we are targeted by the younger generation, who are many of whom are vegans and sustainability activists, in inverted commas, with regards to our factories, that being our cows, and of course climate change. Any good arguments for this? How do we handle these discussions?
Yes, I will start, and I can always hand over to Maretha to add to that. We do see on our Facebook some questions around what does the dairy industry do? So first of all, we have to acknowledge that the dairy industry has got a standard for animal welfare on the farms that is also audited by the DSA. So the dairy industry itself is working really hard to make sure that their house is in order. Then from a nutritional point of view, we have to just communicate the correct information about the nutritional value. And as I said in my last slide, that you do not have to exclude dairy. That's the important thing. You can include dairy. So when you go to a vegetarian diet, the dairy is just going to make the food taste better. And we encourage that. We do believe that eating more plants is good for the planet. And but we do believe that you cannot get all the nutrients effectively just from plants. It's just so much easier when you add dairy to it. I don't know, Maretha, would you like to add something?
Yes, I think you specifically referred to the vegans and how they specifically attack animal source proteins. And I think it's not about trying to put them into shame and say, well, it can't work, or it's not good for, or healthy for the body, but we can state the facts. So I think from the dairy industry side, it's very important to always state the facts and do not try and defend ourselves all the time. And from a nutritional point of view, as Christine said, we must remember that she mentioned that plants and animal source foods work well together. And the reason behind that is also that you have to combine certain proteins to actually improve the quality of your protein. So it's not only about the quantity. For a vegan to get the same quality and all the essential amino acids that an individual needs per day, you have to eat just so much more to get to the same quality of protein. And it's very interesting that certain plants, for instance, have got a lack of certain amino acids, like rice and lentils are very low in lysine, where milk and dairy is high in lysine. So often it's all about how you combine the products to get to the ideal quality of your diet. And yes, this is going to be something of the future. We've got lots of business in food systems and the Food Systems Summit coming up this year. And our project also has just completed a review on healthy food systems and sustainability, and that will be soon available on our website as well. I don't know if that exactly answered the question, but I think this is something of the future, and we're going to have more and more of this, and we just have to equip ourselves with knowledge.
Absolutely, I think so, Maretha. I don't think this argument is going away. I think we're going to definitely have to come up with some valid scientific arguments, to support perhaps some of the misunderstanding or where we've got media perhaps not quite sharing the correct information. Both sides of the argument, I do think, need to be heard. but it is important that, you know, industry is prepared for the onslaught and has, you know, the right scientifically, as I said, scientific information available. Right, we've come to the end of the time, but there is just a couple of questions that have been put forward, and please, I'm just asking, there's a question regarding dairy liquid blend. There's also a question in relation to sports nutrition, and these are quite technical questions, which I'm going to pass on to Christine and to Maretha and ask them to please give us a formal follow-up to this. Because I think that both questions are very valid and do need an answer. I think there's just one last point I would like to make before I hand over to my colleague Adele, who will do the thanks and closure, and that relates to just credits because of the material and the media from the website. So I think this is a general question, Christine, just posed to yourself. And I'm sure that you will definitely make this information available to industry. But if we want to use this great information that you've shared with us, we just need to know how to do it in the correct way to avoid any copyright issues. So please, I'm just going to ask you to add that information as a follow-up to all the delegates so they understand exactly how they may use the information provided. Adele, over to you to say thank you to all our delegates and our presenters, and to Milk SA and the consumer education product. We definitely look forward to working with you again in the near future. Thank you, Adele.
Yes, thank you very much, Linda. Good morning, everybody. And yes, what an amazing presentation. And thank you very much to all the presenters. Just to let you know that the recording will be made available on our website. And we will also be sending the link through to you, Christine. And I just want to mention, thank you very much, Pierre. Pierre Hubert said to you guys, provided an informed and comprehensive overview of the important work that Milk SA and SAMPRO have been doing, very well presented. Thank you very, very much. So I think that's already some applause to you ladies and gents in terms of sharing all that information. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for your time. Thank you for signing in. And like I said, have a look. It will be before the end of the week. We will have the recording that obviously contains the presentations and everything available. And then those other technical questions, we will make sure, Susan and Amanda, that you get those answers as well. And then Karen, in terms of the credits of using, you know, on the websites, that as well. Okay.
And from our side, Adele, I would just like to thank Food Focus for the professional way you've again managed the webinar. It is a pleasure to work with you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Christine. We really appreciate that. I hope that you guys, everybody, all the attendees will have an amazing day. Look out, you will definitely get a follow-up email from Milk SA as well. And yes, let's keep the networking channels open and have a dairy-filled day. Thank you very, very much to everybody.
Thank you and bye-bye.